Good evening and welcome to the Cornell Shakespeare Troupe's production of Macbeth. Sorry for the delay. Our last show ran a little bit over and we weren't expecting to have so much to present, so I'm glad you're all here. And we're a little bit over sold out, so that's exciting. Yeah, right? Just if you could all turn off your cell phones, we don't want any annoying ringing during the show, it distracts the actors. No flash photography, of course, no smoking, or eating or drinking. There will be one 15-minute intermission. And emergency exits behind you, that way and that way. So in the case of an emergency, everybody who's in the illegal seat needs to get out first. So you know, Spidey sense is tingling. It'll be good. I hope you all enjoy the show. Thank you.
When shall we three meet again, in thunder, lightning, or in rain?
When the hurly-burly's done, when the battle's lost and won, that will be ere the set of sun.
Where the place?
Upon the heath, there to meet with Macbeth.
Fair is foul and foul is fair. Hover through the fog and the filthy air.
What bloody man is that? He can't report on Seaman Plan's plight to revolt the newest estate.
This is the sergeant, who like a good and hearty soldier fought against my captivity. Hail, brave friend. Say to the king the knowledge of the broilers how it's leave it.
Doubtful it stood, as two spent swimmers that do cling together and choke their art. The merciless Macdonald, worthy to be a rebel, for to that the multiplying villainies of nature do swarm upon him. From the western isles, of kerns and gallowglasses is supplied, and fortune, on his damned quarrel smiling, showed like a rebel's whore. But all's too weak, for brave Macbeth, well he deserves that name, disdaining fortune, with brandished steel which smote with bloody execution like valor's minion, carved out his passage till he faced the slave, which ne'er shook hands nor bade farewell to him, till he unseamed him from the nave to the chops and fixed his head upon our battlements. But I am faint, my gashes cry for help.
So well thy words become thee as thy words, they smack of honor both. Go, get him surgeons. Who comes here?
Worthy Thane of Ross.
What haste looks through her eyes, so should she look that seems to speak things strange.
God save the king.
Whence camest thou, worthy Thane?
From Fife, great king, where the Norwegian banner flouts the sky and fans our people cold. Norway himself, with terrible numbers, assisted by that most disloyal traitor, the Thane of Cawdor, began a dismal conflict. Till that Bellona's bridegroom lacked in proof, confronted him with self-comparisons, point against point, rebellious arm against arm, curbing his lavish spirit. And to conclude, the victory fell on us.
Great happiness!
That now Sweno, the Norway's king, craves composition, nor would we deign the burial of his men till he disbursed at St. Colm's Inch $10,000 for our general use.
No more that Thane of Cawdor shall perceive our bosom interest. Go, pronounce his present death, and with his former title greet Macbeth.
I'll see it done.
What he hath lost, noble Macbeth hath won.
Macbeth.com.
It's a fair and foul day I have not seen.
Oh, forest call to forest. What are these? So withered and so wild with their attire that look not like inhabitants of the earth and yet are on it. Live you, or are you aught that men may question?
Speak, if you can. What are you?
All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Law!
All hail Macbeth! Hail to thee, Thane of Cawdor! All hail Macbeth! That shalt be king hereafter.
Good sir, why do you start and seem to fear things which do sound so fair? In the name of truth, are you fantastical, or that indeed which outwardly you show? My noble partner, you greet with present grace and great prediction, of noble happening and of royal hope that he seems wrapped withal. To me you speak not. If you can look into the seeds of time and say which grain will grow and which will not, speak then to me. Do neither beg nor fear your favors nor your hate.
Hail!
Hail! Hail!
Lesser than Macbeth and greater.
Not so happy, yet much happier.
Thou shalt get kings, though thou be none. So all hail Macbeth and Banquo.
Banquo and Macbeth, all hail.
Stay, you imperfect speakers! Tell me more! I know by Sinno's death on Dane of Glamis would How Cawdor. The Dane of Cawdor lives a prosperous gentleman, and to be king stands not within the prospect of belief any more to be of Cawdor. Say from whence you owe this strange intelligence, or why upon this blasted heath you stop our way with such prophetic greetings. Speak, I charge you!
Ah, the earth hath bubbles, as the water has. And these are of them. Whither are they vanished?
Into the air. What seemed corporal melted. Like breath in the wind. But they had stayed.
Were such things here as we do speak about, or have we eaten on the insane root that takes the reason prisoner?
Your children shall be kings.
You shall be king.
And Dane of Cawdor too. Or did not so?
The self-same tune and words. Who's here? Oh.
The king hath happily received, Macbeth, the news of thy success, and when he reads thy personal venture in the rebels' fight, his wonders and his praises do contend what should be thine or his. Silenced with that, and in view of the rest of the self-same day, he finds thee in the stout Norwegian ranks nothing afeard of what thyself didst make strange images of death. As thick as tale came post with post, and every one did bear thy praises in his kingdom's great defense, and pour them down upon him. I am sent to give thee from our royal master thanks, only to herald thee into his sight, not pay thee. And, for an earnest of a greater honor, he bade me from him call thee Thane of Cawdor. In which addition, hail, most worthy Thane, for it is thine.
Can the devil speak true?
The Thane of Cawdor lives. Why do you dress me in borrowed robes?
Who was the Thane lives yet, but under heavy judgment bears that life which he deserves to lose. Whether he was combined with those of Norway, or did line to rebel with hidden help advantage, or that with both he labored in our country's wrath, I know not. But treason's capital confessed and proved have overthrown him.
Thanes and Cawdor. The greatest is behind. Thanks for your pains. Do you not wish your children shall be kings? When those that gave me the Thane of Cawdor promised no less to them?
That trusted home might yet enkindle you into the crown besides the Thane of Cawdor. But 'tis strange, and oftentimes to win us to our harm, the instruments of darkness ply us with simple truths, to win us with honest trifles, to betray us in deepest consequence. But cousin, a word I pray you.
Two truths are told, as happy prologues to the swelling act of the imperial theme. I thank you, gentlemen. The supernatural soliciting cannot be ill. Not be good. If ill, why have they given me the earnest of success commencing in a truth? I am Thane of Cawdor. If good, why do I yield to that suggestion? Whose horrid image doth unfix my hair, and make my seated heart knock, and my ribs against the use of nature? Present fears are less than horrible imaginings. My thought was what is yet but fantastical. Shakes so my single state of man. That function is smothered in surmise, and nothing is but what is not.
Look how our partner's wrapped.
If chance may have me king, then chance may crown me without my stir.
New honors come upon him like our strange garments that cleave not to their mold with the aid of use.
Come what come may, time and the hour runs through the roughest stay.
Worthy Macbeth, we stay upon your leisure.
Oh, give me a favor. My dull brain is bothered with things forgotten. Kind gentlemen, your pains are registered where every day I turn the leaf to read them. Let us toward the king. Think about what had chanced, and at more time, the interim having waited, let us speak our hearts free each to the other, very gladly. Well, then enough. Come, friends.
Is execution done on Cawdor? Are not those in commission yet returned?
My liege, they are not yet come back. But I spoke with one that saw him die. To report them very frankly, he confessed his treasons, implored your highness's pardon, and set forth a deep repentance. Nothing in his life became him like believing it. He died as one that had been studied in his death, to throw away the dearest thing he owes to a careless trifle.
There's no art to find the mind's construction of the face. He was a gentleman on whom I built an absolute trust. Worthiest cousin, the sin of my ingratitude even now was heavy on me. Thou art so far before that swiftest wing of recompense is slow to overtake thee. Wouldst thou hadst less deserved, the proportion both of thanks and payment might have been mine. Only I have left to say, more is thy due than more than all can pay.
The service and the loyalty I owe in doing it pays itself. Your Highness pardons to receive our duties, and our duties to your state and throne. Children and servants, do what they should by doing everything safe to your love and honor.
Welcome hither. We have begun to plant thee, and will labor to make thee full of growing. Noble Banquo, that hast no less deserved, nor must be known, no less have done so. Let me enfold thee, and hold thee to my heart.
There, if I grow, the harvest is your own.
My plenteous joys, wanted in fullness, seek to hide themselves in drops of sorrow. Sons, kinsmen, thanes, and you whose places are the nearest, know we will establish our estate upon our eldest, Malcolm, whom we name hereafter Prince of Cumberland. Which honor must not unaccompanied invest him only, but signs of nobleness, like stars, shall shine on all deservers. From hence to Inverness, and find what's further to you.
The rest is labor which is not used for you. I'll be the harbinger and make joyful my wife with the hearing of your approach. Only take my leave.
My worthy Cardinal.
Prince of Cumberland! This is a step on which I must follow, or so leap it, for in my way it lies. Stars, hide your fires. Night, see my black and deep desires. The eye wink at the hand, yet it must be seen. Time which the eye fears, when it is done, to see.
They met me in the day of success, and I have learned by the perfectest report they have more in them than mortal knowledge. When I burned in desire to question them further, they made themselves air, into which they vanished. Whilst I stood wrapped in the wonder of it, came missives from the king, who all hailed me Thane of Cawdor, by which title before these weird brothers saluted me, and referred me to the coming on of time with him. Hail king, that shall be. This I have that good to deliver thee, my dearest partner of greatness, that thou mightst not lose the dues of rejoicing by being ignorant of what greatness is promised thee. Lay to thy heart and farewell. Lambs thou art, and Cawdor, and shalt be what thou art promised. Yet I do fear thy nature. It is too full of the milk of kindness to catch the nearest way. Thou wouldst be great, art not without ambition, or without the illness should attend it. What thou wouldst highly, that wouldst holily, wouldst not play false, and yet wouldst wrongly win, not love. Great Glums, that which cries, thus thou must do, if thou have it, and that which rather thou dost fear to do than wishes should be undone. Hie thee hither, that I may pour my spirits in thine ear, and chastise with the valor of my tongue all that impedes thee from the golden round, which fate and metaphysical aid doth seem to have thee crowned withal. What is your tidings?
The king comes here tonight.
Thou art mad to say, it is not thy master with him, who, were it so, would have informed for preparation.
So please you, it is true, our Thane is coming. One of my fellows had the speed of him who, almost dead for breath, scarcely had more than would make of his message.
Give him plenty, he brings great news. The raven himself is horse that croaks the fatal entrance of Duncan under my battlements. Come, you spirits that tend unmortal thought. Unsex me here and fill me from the crown to the toe, top full of direst cruelty. Make thick my blood. Stop up the access or passage to remorse, that no compunctious visitings of nature shake my fell purpose, nor keep peace between the effect and it. Come to my woman's breast, and take my milk for gall, you murdering ministers, wherever in your sightless substances you wait our nature's mischief. Come, thick night, and pall thee in the dumbest smoke upheld, and my keen knife see not the wound it makes, nor heaven peep through the blanket of the dark to cry, hold! Great Glums! Worthy Cawdor, greater than both by the all-hail hereafter. Thy letters have transported me beyond this ignorant present, and I feel now the future in the instant.
My dearest wife, Duncan comes here tonight.
And when goes hence?
Tomorrow, as he purposes.
Oh, never shall sun that morrow see. Your face, my Thane, is as a book where men may read strange matters. To beguile the time, look like the time. Bear welcome in your eye, your hand, your tongue. Look like the innocent flower, but be the serpent under it. He that's coming must be provided for, and you shall put this night's great business into my dispatch, which shall, for all our nights and days to come, give solely sovereign sway and masterdom.
We will speak further.
Only look up clear. To alter favor ever is to fear. Leave all the rest to me.
This castle has a pleasant seat. The air nimbly and sweetly that commends himself. You are gentle.
This guest of summer, the temple-haunting Margaret, does improve by his loved mansion, that heaven's breath smells wooingly here. No jutty phrase, buttress, nor coin of vantage, what this bird hath made his pendant bed and procreant cradle. But where they most breed and haunt, I have observed the air is delicate.
See our honored hostess. Love that follows us sometimes is our trouble, which still we thank as love. Here I teach you how you shall bid God ill us for your pains, and thank us for your trouble.
All your service in every point twice done and then done double were poor and single witness to contend against those honors deep and broad wherewith your majesty loads our house. For those of old and the late dignities heaped up to them, we rest your hermits.
Where's the fame of Caldwell? We coursed him at the heels, and had a purpose to be his purvey. But he rides well, and his great love, sharp as his spur, hath helped him to his home before us. Kind and noble hostess, we are your guests.
Your servants ever have theirs themselves, and what is theirs in count, to make their audit at your highness's pleasure, still to return your own.
Give me your hand. Conduct me to mine host. We love him highly, and shall continue our graces towards him. By our leave, hostess.
If it were done when 'tis done, then 'twere well it were done quickly. If the assassination could jumble up the consequences and catch with his success, this blow would be the be-all, end-all. Here, upon this bank and shoal of time, we don't have life to come. But in these cases, we still have judgment. We would teach bloody instruction, which beings are returned to plague the adventure. Even-handed justice commends the ingredients of our poison chalice to our own lips. Is here in double trust. First, I am his kinsman, and its subject, strong both against the deed. As his host, who should against his murderer shut the door, not bear the knife myself. Besides, this Duncan hath borne a faculty so meek, and been so clear in his great office that his virtues will plead like angels, trumpet-tongued, against the deep damnation of his taking off, and pity like the naked newborn babe striding the blast, or heaven's cherubim horsed upon the settler's quarters. Shall blow the horrid deed in every eye, that tears will drown the wind? I have no spur to prick the sides of my intent, but only bolting ambition, which overleaps herself and falls on the other. How now? What news?
He hath almost supped. Why he left the chamber?
Hath he asked for me?
Know you not he has?
I will proceed no further in this business. He hath honored me as late, and I bought golden opinions from all sorts of people, which will be worn now in their newest gloss, not cast aside so soon.
Was the hope drunk wherein you dressed yourself? Hath it slept since? And wakes it now to look so green and pale in what it did so freely? From this time such I count thy love. Art thou afeard to be the same in act and valor as thou art in desire? Wouldst thou have that which thou esteemest the ornament of life, and live a coward in thine own esteem, letting I dare not wait upon I would, like the poor cat in the adage?
Prithee, peace. I dare do all that may become a man. Who dares do more is none.
Oh, what beast was it then that made you break this enterprise to me? When you durst do it, then you would be a man, and to be more than what you were, you would be so much more the man. Nor time nor place did then adhere, yet you would make both. They have made themselves that their fitness does not make you. I have given suck, and know how tender it is to love the babe that milks me. I would, while it were smiling in my face, have plucked my nipple from his boneless gums and dashed the brains out had I so sworn as you have turned to this.
If we should fail...
We fail! But screw your courage to the sticking place and will not fail. When Duncan is asleep, where to the rather shall this day's long journey soundly invite him, his two chamberlains will I with wine and with sail so convince that memory, the warder of the brain, shall be a feud, and the receipt of reason a limbic only. When in swinish sleep their drenched natures lie as in a death? What cannot you and I perform upon the unguarded Duncan? What not put upon his spongy officers who shall bear the guilt of our great well?
Bring forth men, children only. For thy undone metal should compose nothing but nails. Will it not be received when we've marked with blood those sleepy two of his own chamber, their very daggers that they have done it?
Who dares receive it other when we shall make our griefs and clamor roar upon his death?
I am settled and bend governed. Each cripple agent to this terrible fate. But wait, I mark the time with fairest show. False face must hide what false heart doth know.
How goes the night, boy?
The moon is down. I have not heard the clock.
She goes down at 12.
I take it 'tis later, sir.
Hold. Take my sword. Thinkest thou that too? There's husbandry in heaven. Her candles are all out. A heavy summons lies like lead upon me, and yet I would not sleep. Merciful powers restrain me, those cursed thoughts that nature gives way to in repose. Hold, give me my sword. Who's there?
A friend.
What, sir, not yet at rest? The king's abed. He hath been in unusual pleasure of late, and hath sent forth great largesse upon your office. This diamond, he bid me greet your wife withal, by the name of most kind hostess, and shut up in measureless content.
Being unprepared, I well became a servant of defect, who just free should have wrought.
All's well. I dreamt last night of 3 great brothers. To you they have shown some truth.
I think not of them. Yet, when we can entreat an hour to serve, we should spend in some words upon that business, if you would grant the time.
At your kindest leisure.
If you shall cleave to my consent, when 'tis, it shall make great honor to you.
So I lose none in seeking to augment it, but still keep my bosom franchise and allegiance clear. I shall be counseled.
Good repose the while.
Thanks, sir. The like to you.
Go get thy mistress. When my drink is ready, rung the bell. Get thee to bed. Is this a dagger I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision? Sensible to feeling as to sight? Art thou a dagger of the mind, a false creation, from the heat oppressed brain? I see thee still. In the form as pebbles now that I draw. The marshes knew the way I was going. Such a reason I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools, the other senses are else with the rest. I see thee still. And on thy blade in dudgeon, gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business that informs us in mine eyes. Oh, thou art the one half-world. Nature seems dead. Wicked dreams abuse the curtain sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale hate offerings and withered murder. Alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, his hounds, his watch. And thus moves, like Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design, like a ghost. Thou sure and firm set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy stones prate of my whereabouts, and take from the present horror the time which now suits with me. As I threat, he lives. Words the heat of deeds, too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
That which hath made them drunk hath made me bold. What hath quenched them hath given me fire. Hark! It was the owl that shrieked. The fatal bell noon that gives the sternest good night. He is about it. I have drugged their possets that death and nature do contend about them, whether they live or die.
Who's there? What ho?
I am fear they have awakened. 'Tis not done. The attempt and not the deed confounds us. Hark! I laid their daggers ready. He could not miss them. Had he not resembled my father as he slept, I had done. My husband.
The deed is done. Dost thou hear a noise?
I heard the owl scream and the crickets cry. Did not you speak?
When?
No.
As I descended.
I.
Hark! Who lies in the second chamber?
Donald.
This is a sorry sight.
A foolish thought to say a sorry sight.
Once it laughed and said, the other cried, murder! And they waked each other. I stood and heard them, but they did say their prayers and adjust them again to sleep.
There's two lodged together.
One did say, God bless us, and the other, Amen. As they see me with these hangmen's heads listening to their fears, I could not say Amen when the other did say, God bless us.
Consider it not so deeply.
Wherefore can I not pronounce Amen? I had most need of blessing, and Amen stuck in my throat.
These deeds must not be thought after these ways, so it will make us mad.
Methought I heard her cry, now sleep no more. Macbeth does murder sleep, the innocent sleep. Sleep, knit up the sleeve of raveled care, death of each day's life, sore labor's bath, bones hurt mine. May nature's second course, chief nourisher in life's feast.
What do you mean?
And still it cried, sleep no more, to all the house. Gods have more than sleep, and therefore kindness shall sleep no more. Macbeth shall murder sleep.
Who was it that thou cried? Why, worthy fame, would you unbend your noble strength to think so brain sickly of things? Go, get some water and wash this filthy witness from your hand. Why did you bring the daggers from the place? They must lie that go. Carry them and smear the sleepy grooms with blood.
I will not go. Afraid to think of what I have done. Look on again, I dare not.
Infirm of purpose. Give me the daggers. The sleeping and the dead are but as pictures. 'Tis the eye of childhood that hears a painted devil. If you do bleed, I'll gild the faces of the grooms withal, for it must seem their guilt.
Whence is that knocking? What is it with me that every noise appalls me? What are these hands? Huh? Pluck up mine eyes! Oh, all great Neptune's oceans wash the blood from my hand. No. Rather, this my hand, the multitudinous seas incarnate and make the green one red.
My hands are of your color, but I shame to wear hearts so white. Hark, I hear not in the south entry. Retire to your chamber. Little water clears us of the steam. How is it that your constancy has left you unattended? Hark, more and more knocking. No, quick, get on your nightgown, lest occasion calls and shows me. Well, be not lost so poorly in your thoughts. What?
know the deed, for best I know myself. Wait, I don't want that knocking. I wouldst thou couldst!
Knocking indeed. If a man were quarter of Hellgate, he'd have home turning the key. Knock, knock, knock. Who's there? Name of Beelzebub. Well, here's a farmer that hanged himself in the expectation of life. Come in time. Have napkins enough at you. Here you'll sweat for it. Knock, knock. Who's there in the other devil's name? Faith. Here's an equivocator that could swear in both scales against either scale, who committed treason enough for God's sake, but could not equivocate to heaven. Oh, come in, equivocator. Knock, knock, knock! Who's there? Here's an English tailor. Come hither for stealing out of a French hose. Come here, tailor. Here you may roast your goose. Knock, knock! Never a quiet! What are you? But this place is too cold for help. I'll devil for it no further. I had thought to let in some of all professions that go the primrose way to the everlasting bonfire. I pray you remember this word.
Was it so late, friend, ere you went to bed, that you do lie so late?
Faith, sir. We were carousing till the second cock. And drink, sir, is a great provoker of three things.
What three things does drink especially provoke?
Marry, sir. Nose painting, sleep, and urine. Lechery, sir. It provokes and unprovokes. It provokes the desire, but it takes away the performance. Therefore, much drink may be said to be an equivocator with lechery. It makes him and it mars him. It sets him on and it takes him off. It persuades him and disheartens him. Makes him stand to and not stand. In conclusion, equivocates him asleep and giving him the lie. Leaves him.
I believe drink gave thee the lie last night.
That it did, sir. The very throat on me, but I requited him for his lie. And I think, being too strong for him, he took on my legs sometime. Then I made a shift to cast.
Is thy master stirring? Our knocking has awaked him.
Good morrow, noble sir.
Good morrow, both.
Is the king stirring, worthy thing?
No, not yet.
He hath sent me to call timely on him. I've almost slipped the hour.
I'll bring you to him.
I know this is a joyful trouble to you, but yet 'tis one.
In labor we delight in physic pain. This is the door.
I make so bold to call, for 'tis my limited service.
Goes the king hence today?
He does. He did appoint so.
The night has been unruly. Where we lay, our chimneys were blown down, and, as they say, lamentings heard in the air, strange screams of death, and prophesying with accents terrible of dire combustion and confused events, new hatched to the woeful time. The obscure bird clamored the livelong night. Some say the earth was feverous and did shake.
It was a rough night.
My young remembrance cannot parallel a fellow to it.
Oh! Horror! 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 Tongue nor heart cannot conceive nor name thee.
What's the matter?
Confusion now hath made his masterpiece. Most sacrilegious murder hath broke open the Lord's anointed temple and stole thence the life of the building.
What is it you say, the life?
Mean you, his majesty?
Approach the chamber and destroy your sight with a new Gorgon. Do not bid me speak. See! And then speak yourselves. Awake! Awake! Ring the alarm bell! Murder and treason! Banquo! Donalbain! Malcolm, awake! Shake off this downy sleep that's counterfeit and look on death itself! Ah! Up and see the great doom's image. Malcolm, Banquos from your graves, rise up and walk like sprites to countenance this horror. Ring the bell!
What's the business that such a hideous trumpet calls to startle the sleepers of the house? Speak! Speak!
Oh, gentle lady, 'tis not for you to hear what I can speak. Repetition in a woman's ear would murder as it fell. Oh, Banquo, our royal master's murdered.
What? Alas! What? In our house?
Too cruel anywhere! Dear dumb, I prithee contradict thyself and say it is not so.
Had I but died an hour before this chance, I had lived a blessed life. For from this moment, there's nothing serious in mortality. All is but toys. Renown and grace is dead. The wine of life is drawn, and the merest lees is left the vault to brag of.
What's amiss?
You are, and do not know it. The spring, the head, the fountain of your blood is stopped. The very source of it is stopped.
His royal father's murdered.
By who?
Those of his chamber, as it seemed, had done it. Their hands and faces were all patched with blood. So were their daggers, which unwiped we found upon their pillows. They stared and were distracted. No man's life was to be trusted with them.
Oh, yet I do repent me of my fury that I did kill them.
Wherefore did you so?
Who can be wise, amazed, temperate, loyal and neutral in a moment? No man. The expedition of my love around the pause of reason. Here, lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood, and his gush stabs up like a breach in nature for ruin's wasteful entrance. There, the murderers steeped in the colors of their trays, their daggers breached with unmanly gore. Who could refrain? Who had a heart to love, and in that heart, courage to make us know?
Oh, help me, hands, stop!
What to the lady?
Why do we hold our tongue? Most may claim this argument for ours.
What should be spoken here? Where our fate, hidden in augur hole, may rush and seize us. Let's away. Our tears are not yet through.
Nor our strong sorrow upon the foot of motion.
Look to the lady.
Oh!
When we have our naked frailties hid that suffer an exposure, let us meet and question this most bloody piece of work to know it further. Fears and scruples shake us. In the great hand of God I stand, and thence against the undivulged pretense I fight of treasonous malice.
And so do I!
So all! Let's briefly put on manly readiness and meet at the hall together.
Well contented.
What will you do? Let's not consort with them. To show an unfelt sorrow is an office which the false man does easy. Out to England.
To Ireland I. Our separated fortune shall keep us both the safer. Where we are, there's daggers in men's smiles. The nearer blood, the nearer bloody.
This murderous shot hath not yet lighted, and our safest way is to avoid the aim. Therefore, of course, let us not be dainty of leave taking, but shift away. There's warrant in the theft, which steals itself, and there's no mercy.
Thou seest the heavens. This troubled with man's axe threatened his bloody stage. By the clock 'tis day, yet dark night strangles the traveling lamp. Is it night's predominance or the day's shame that darkness does the face of the earth entomb when living light should kiss it?
'Tis unnatural, even like the deed that's done. On Tuesday last, a falcon, towering in her pride of place, was by a mousing owl hawked at and killed.
And Duncan's horses, something most strange, uncertain, beauteous, and swift, the minions of their race turned wild in nature, broke their stalls, flung out, contending against obedience as they would make war with mankind.
'Tis said they eat each other.
Who did so? Amazement of mine eyes that did look upon it. Here comes the good Macbeth. How goes the world, sir, now?
Why? See you not?
Is yet known that this more than bloody deed?
Those that Macbeth was slain.
Alas, the day, what good did they bring?
They were suborned. Malcolm and Donalbain, the king's two sons, are stolen away and fled. which puts upon them suspicion of the deed.
Against nature still. Ruthless ambition will raven up thine own life's means. Then 'tis most likely sovereignty will fall upon Macbeth.
He is already named and brought his gun to be invested.
Where is Duncan's body?
Carried to Cornell, the sacred storehouse of his predecessors and guardian of their bones.
Will you spawn?
No, cousin. Out to fight.
Well, I will thither.
Well, may you see things well done there. Adieu, lest our old road sit easier than our new.
Farewell, cousin.
God's venison go with you, and with those that would make good of bad, and friends and foes.
Thou hast it now, King, Cawdor, Gloves. All as the weird brothers promised, and yet I feared thou playedst most foully for it. Yet if such should not stand in thy posterity, but that myself should be the root and father of many kings. If there come truths from them as upon thee, Macbeth, their speeches shine. May they not be my oracles as well, and set me up in hope? Hush no more.
Here's our chief guest.
If you had forgot, it had been as a god in our great feast, and in all things unbecoming.
Tonight we hold a solemn supper, sir. I request your presence.
Let your highness command upon me, to the which my duties are with a most indissoluble tie forever knit.
Ride you this afternoon?
Aye, my good lord.
We should have else designed your good advice, which still hath been both brave and prosperous, on this day's council. We'll take of that tomorrow. Is it far you ride?
As far, my lord, as 'twill fill up the time twixt this and supper. Go not my horse the better, I must become a borrower of the night for dark hours, Wayne.
Fail not our feast.
My lord, I will not.
It is said that our bloody cousins are bestowed in England and Ireland, not confessing their cruel parricide, filling their strange heroes with strange invention. We'll have that tomorrow. When the wherewithal will have cause to stay craving us jointly. Hie to your horse. Adieu, to return at night. Those flayons with you.
Aye, my good lord. Our time does call upon us.
I wish your horse assurance with the foot, and so I do commend you to their backs. Farewell.
Oh.
Let every man be master of his time, to make society the sweeter welcome. Ourself will be alone till supper time. God be with you. Sirrah, a word. Are those gentlemen at our pleasure?
They are, my lord, without the palace gate.
Bring them to me. To be thus is nothing, but to be safely thus. Our fears and Banquo stick deep, and in his royalty and nature reigns that which would be feared. 'Tis much he dares, that has dawned to this temper of his mind. He hath a wisdom that guide him in his valor to act in safety. There's none but he whose being I do fear. It is under him that my genius is rebuked, as it is said Mark Antony's was by Caesar. He chid the brothers when they first spoke to me and put the name of king upon me. Then, prophet-like, they hailed him to a line of kings, and upon my head they put a fruitless crown and a barren scepter in my grip, thence to be wrenched with an unlineal hand, no son of mine succeeding. For it is then that I have filed my mind for Banquo's issue. For them, the gracious Duncan I have murdered, but rancors in the vessel of my peace, and given my eternal jewel to the common enemy of man, only to make them kings, the seed of Banquo kings. Rather than so, fate come into the list and champion me to the utterance. Who's there? Wait outside the door, and wait there till we call. Was it not yesterday we spoke together?
It was, so please, Your Highness.
And have you considered of my speeches? No, that it was he in times past that kept you so under fortune, which you thought had been our innocent self. This I made good to you in our last conference. Passed in probation with you, how you were born in hand, how crossed, how the instruments were wrought with, and to some things might half a soul and notions praise say, thus did Banquo.
They didn't know to us.
I did so, and went further. Which is part of our second game. Is your patience so predominant in your nature that you can let this go? Are you so gospel that you can pray for this good man and his issue, whose heavy hand hath bowed you to the grave and beggared yours forever?
Here, men, my liege.
Aye, in the catalogue you go for men. It's greyhounds, hounds, mongrels, curs, waterrucks, and shows, and demi-wolves are all clubbed by the name of dogs. The battle you fight. It's a brace. The swift, the slow, the subtle, the housekeeper, the hunter. All according to the gifts which bounty's nature hath him enclosed, whereby he does receive particular addition from the bill that writes them all alike. And so, of men. Now, if you have a station in the file, say it. And I put that business in your bosom, whose execution of your enemy takes off. Your heart will be grappled in love of us, and in a sickly health, in his life, in which and death were perfect.
I am one, my liege, who the vile blows and buffets of the world have so incensed that I am reckless what I do despite the world.
And I another. So weary with disaster, tugged with fortune, that I would set my lie on any chance. Commend it, or be rid on it.
Both of you know that Banquo was your enemy,
It's true, my lord.
so he is mine. And in such bloody business, and in such distance, and every minute of his being presses against my nearest of life. And though I could, with barefaced power, sweep him from my sight, and my bit will avouch him, yet I must not. For certain friends are both his and mine, whose loves I may not drop, but wail his fault, who I myself struck down. And thence it is that I to your assistance do make love, and mask the business from the common eye for sundry weighty reasons.
We shall, my lord, perform what you command us.
Though our lives...
Your spirit shine through you. When this hour at the most, I'll advise you where to place yourselves, and acquaint you with the best spy of the time, and the moment for it. On it must be done something from the palace, always that I require certain plans. And with him, leave nor rubs nor botches in the work, Flayance, his son, who keeps him company, whose absence is no less material to me than is his father's, must embrace the fate of that dark hour. Resolve yourselves apart. I'll come to you anon.
We all resolve, my lord.
Better then, I'll call upon you straight. It is concluded. Banquo, thy soul's flight to find heaven must find it tonight.
had, all spent, when our desires got without content, it's safer to be that which we destroy than by destruction dwell in doubtful joy. Anna, my lord, why do you keep alone of sorriest fancy your companions make in using those thoughts which indeed should have died with them they think on? Things without all remedy should be without regard. What's done is done.
We have scorched the snake, not killed him. She'll close and be herself, and whilst our poor Malice remains in danger, let the frame of things destroy, and both the worlds suffer. And we eat our meals in fear, and sleep in the terrible affliction of these terrible dreams that shake us nightly. Better be with the dead, whom we to gain our peace have sent to peace, than to torture on the mind, lie in restless ecstasy. Duncan is in his grave. After life's fit for fever, he sleeps well. Treason has done his worst. No steel, no poison, malice domestic, foreign living, nothing can touch him further.
Come on, gentle my lord. Sleep over your rugged looks. Be bright and jovial among our guests tonight.
So shall I, love, and so pray be you. Apply your remembrance to Banquo. Present him with eminence, both with eye and tongue. Unsafe the while, then we must labor our honors these flattering streams, and make ourselves our wizards' best for those horrid deeds, and hide our hearts, disguising what they are.
You must leave this.
Oh, full of scorpions is my mind, dear wife. Dost thou know that Banquo in his flayons lives?
Yes, but in the nature's copy is not eternal.
There's comfort yet. They are assailable. Then thou can be chicken. Ere the bat had flown his clustered flight, ere the black hake summon, who summoned the sharp-born beetle with his drowsy hums, hath rung night's yearning peal. There shall be done a deed of dreadful now.
What's to be done?
Be innocent of the knowledge, dearest Chuck, until I applaud the deed. Come, sealing night, scarf up the tender eye of pitiful day, and with those bloody and invisible hands, cancel and tear to pieces that bond which keeps me pale. Like thickens, and the crow makes wing the rookie wood. Good things of day begin to droop and drowse, as night's black ages to their prey do rouse. How marvelous are my words. But hold thee still. Things bad begun make them so strong by ill. So, prithee, go with me.
Macbeth.
He needs not our mistrust, since he knows our offices and what we have to do to the direction of justice.
Stand with us. The West echoes the streets of day. That's where the lady traveler takes to gain the time needed. And here approaches the subject of our watch. Mark, here approaches.
Then see, all the rest presuming the known expectation already are in the court.
Supposed to go about almost a mile. As usual. So all men. Hence the palace gate, make it your law.
Oh wait.
Stand to it.
Will be rain tonight.
Let it come down!
Oh, treachery! Fly, you fly on the streets! Fly, fly, fly! Thou mayst fuck! I'll slave!
out the light.
Was it not the way?
There's but one down. The sun has fled.
We've lost best half of our affair.
Well, let's away and say how much is done.
Come, sit down. You know your own degrees. At first and last, the hearty welcome.
Thanks to your majesty.
We'll mingle with society and play the humble host. And our hostess is her state. And best time will require her welcome.
I'll pronounce it for me, sir, for my heart speaks. Our friends are welcome.
See, they encountered you with their thanks. Both sides are even. In hunch and mirth. We'll drink around the table, huh? There's blood on thy face.
Thank you, sir.
There's better he without than he within. Is he dispatched?
I'm a lord. His throat is cut. That I did for him.
Oh, thou art the best of cutthroats. It is good that did the like for flayouts. If thou art not in peril.
It's true, sir. Leonce escaped.
Then comes my fit again. The house had been perfect, whole as marble, rounded as the rock, as general and broad as the casing in it. Now I'm inhabited, I'm confined, cribbed, bound into sotsy dots and fears. Banquo safe?
My good lord. Safe and she bides, with 20 trenchant gashes instead. The release of death to nature.
Thanks for that. There the ground serpent lies. The worms had fled, hath nature will in time venom breed. No teeth for the present. Get thee gone. We'll hear ourselves again tomorrow.
My royal lord, you do not give the cheer. Feast is soul that is not often vouched, while 'tis a making, 'tis given with welcome. To feed were best at home, from thence the sauce to meat is ceremony. Meeting were fair without it.
Sweet remembrancer. Good digestion wait on appetite and health on both.
May it please your highness sit?
Yeah. We are now our country's honor roofed, and were our grace person Banquo present, whom I may rather challenge for unkindness than pity for mischance.
His absence lays blame upon his promise. Please your highness to grace us with your royal company.
Oh, the table's full.
Here's a place reserved, sir.
What?
Here, my good lord. What is it that moves your highness?
Which one of you have done this?
What, my good lord?
Thou canst not say I did it! Never shake the going locks at me!
Gentlemen, rise. Your highness is not well.
Oh, sit, worthy friends, my lord is often thus and happened from his youth. I pray you, keep seat. The fit is momentary. Upon a moment, he will again be well. If much you know him, you shall offend him and extend his passion. Feed, and regard him not. Are you a man?
Aye, a bold one. that there will go now trying to pull the devil.
Oh, proper stuff. This is the very painting of your fear. This is the air-drawn dagger which you said led you to Duncan. All these flaws and starts would well become a woman's story at a winter fire authorized by her granddon. Shame itself! Why do you make such faces when all is done? You look out on a stool.
Prithee, see there. Behold. Look. Lo, what say you? What care I? Thou canst not speak, too. And charnel harnesses and graveyards send on those we buried back. Our monument shall be the Mozarkites.
What quite unmanned in folly?
If I stepped in, I saw him.
Fie for shame.
And the blood hath been shed. In the olden time, the human statue purged the gentle wheel. The time has been now that when the brains round, the man are dead, and there an end. But now they rise again with 20 mortal murders on their crown, and push our stools from us. This is more strange than such a murder is.
My worthy lord, your noble friends do lack you.
And you forget. Do not use it, my most worthy friends. I have a strange infirmity which is nothing to those that know me. Come, love and health to all. And now I wait to sit. Give me some wine. Go full. Thank you. I drink to the general joy of the whole table. And to our friend Banquo, whom we miss, we're here. To all in him we thirst, and all to all.
Our duties and pledge.
Avaunt! And quit my sight! Let the earth hide thee! Thy bones are marrowless, thy blood is cold! Thou hast no speculation what thou dost flare with!
Oh, worthy friends, I pray you see tis no other, only it spoils the pleasure of the time.
One man dare, I dare! Approach like the rugged Russian bear, or the on rhinoceros, or the hippogriff tiger. Take any form of that, and my firm shall never tremble. Or dare me to thy dissonant with thy sword. I bind heaven tremble. Protest me the beauty of a girl! Hands horrible shadow, are real hungry hands! Why so? Being gone, I am man again. Pray you, sit still.
You have displaced the mirth, broken the good meeting with most admired disorder.
Can such things be? Like summer's cloud, without our special wonder? You make me strange, even to the disposition that I owe. Now I think you can behold such sights and keep the natural ruby of your cheeks when mine is bled with fear.
Oh, what sights, my lord!
I pray you speak not. He grows worse and worse. Question enrages him. At once, good night. Stand not upon the order if you're going, but go at once.
Good night, and better help attend his majesty.
A kind good night to all.
Stones have been known to move trees, to speak. Ogres and understood relations have by magpies and shows and books upon the secret island of blood! What is the night?
Almost at odds with morning, is it?
How sayest thou that when doth the nicest person at our great bidding?
As you send for him, sir.
I hear it, by the way, but I will send out. There's not but one of them in his house I keep a certain fee. Tomorrow I will go, betimes I will to the Weird brothers. How shall they speak? And now I am bent to know the worst means worst. For mine own good, all causes shall give way. In blood I'm stepped so far, Should I wait no more, returning where as tedious as go over? Strange things that head will to hand. They must be acted quickly, ere they may be scanned.
You lack the season of all nature. Sleep.
Come. Will to sleep. Thy strange and self-abuse is the initiative fear which wants hard use. Who are yet but young indeed.
Thrice the blinded cat hath mewed.
Thrice and once the hedge pig whined.
Harpier cries, 'tis time, 'tis time.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes.
How now, you black, secret midnight heads! What did you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you by that which you profess, however you come to know it. Though you untie winds and let them fight against the churches, though yeasty ways confound and swallow navigation up, though corn be lodged and trees blown down, though castles topple their waters' heads, though pyramids and palaces sunk their heads to their foundations, though treasure of nature's germ tumble all together to destruction sicken, answer what I ask you.
Speak.
Demand.
We'll answer. Say if thou hast rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters.
Call him! Let me see him!
Pour in sow's blood that hath eaten, her nine pharaoh, grease that sweeten, from the murderer's gibbet throw into the flame. Come high or low, thyself in office deftly show.
Let me know that unknown power!
Knows thy thoughts. Hear his speech, but say thou naught. Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth. Beware, Macduff. Beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me. Enough.
Of thy precaution? Thanks. Thou hast heard my fear right. But one word more!
He will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first.
Macbeth, Macbeth, Macbeth.
Had I 3 ears, I hear thee!
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. We'll have to scorn the power of man, for another woman born shall harm Macbeth.
And live, Macduff. What need I fear thee? And yet I'll make assurances double and double sure. Take that bond of fate. Oh, that may pay hard fear it lies, and sleep in spine of thunder. What is this? That rises like the issue of a king. None on his baby brow, the round and top of sovereignty.
Listen, but speak not to it.
Be lion-mettled, proud, and take no care, who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are.
Macbeth shall never vanquished be until great Burnham Wood to high Dunsinane Hill shall come against him.
That will never be! who can impress the forest? Bid the tree move its earthbound roots! Sweet Bodemits, good! Her belly is dead, shall never rise till Bodem would rise. And I, place Macbeth, shall live the lease of nature. Pagans was the time and mortal custom. Now my heart drops to know one thing more. Tell me, thou could tell me so much. Shall Banquo's issue ever reign in this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
Thou art too like the spirit of Banquo. Down! Thy crown seared my eyeballs, and thy hair, now their golden bound brow is like the first, a third is like the former. Oh, filthy hands! Why do you show me this? Oh, a fourth, start, rise! What is the line of and crack of doom? Another yet, a seventh! I'll see no more! And yet an eighth appears, who bears a glass that shows me many more, and some, the twofold balls and scepter carry, horrible sights! Be true, the blood-bolted Banquo smiles upon me, and putted them for his. At this pernicious hour stand I, curse the calendar. Come in. Without there.
What's your grace's will?
And the weird brothers come by you?
No, my lord.
Infected be the air that which on they ride. Damned all that trust them. And I'm not here galloping. Who is it that came by?
'Tis 2 or 3, my lord, that bring you word Macduff is fled to England.
Fled to England?
Aye, my good lord.
Time. Thou anticipates my dread exploits. The flighted process never overtook unless the deed go with it. From this moment, the first sling of my heart shall be the first sling of my hand. And though my acts be promised thoughts, be it thought and done, the castle of Macduff I will surprise. Seize upon Fife and give the edged sword his wife, his babes, and all unfortunate souls that trace him in his line. No boasting, like a fool. For this deed, I'll do this purpose. Cool. But no more sights. Where are these gentlemen? Bring me where they are.
My former speeches have but hit your thoughts, which can interpret farther. Only I say, things have been strangely born. Your gracious Duncan was pitied of Macbeth. Marry, he was dead. And the right valiant Banquo walked too late, whom you may say, if it please you, Fleance killed, for Fleance fled. Men must not walk too late. Who cannot want the thought how monstrous it was for Malcolm and for Donalbain to kill their gracious father? Damned in fact how it did grieve Macbeth. Did he not straight in pious rage the 2 delinquents tear, that were the slaves of drink and thralls of sleep? Was not that nobly done? Aye, and wisely too, for 'twould have angered any heart alive to hear the men deny it. So that I say, he has borne all things well. And I do think that had he Duncan's sons under his key, as and to please heaven he shall not, they should find what 'twere to kill a father. So should Fleance. But peace, for from broad words, and because he felt his presence at the tyrant's feast, I hear Macduff lives in disgrace. Sir, can you tell where he bestows himself?
The son of Duncan, from whom this tyrant holds the due of birth, lives in the English court and is received with most pious Edward, with such grace that the benevolence of fortune nothing takes from his high respect. Thither is Macduff gone, to pray the holy king upon his aid, to awake Northumberland and warlike Seward, that by the aid of these, with him above to ratify the work, we shall again give to our tables meat, sleep to our nights, free from our feasts and banquets bloody knives, give faithful homage and receive free arms, all which we pine for now. And this report that so exasperates the king, that he prepared for some attempt at war.
Said he to Macduff?
That he did. With an absolute stern eye, the cloudy messenger turns me his back, and hums, as who should say, You'll rue the time the clogs move this answer.
And that well might advise him to a caution to hold what distance his wisdom can provide. Some holy angel fly to England and unfold his message ere he come, that a swift blessing may soon return to this our suffering country under a hand accursed.
I'll send my prayers with him.
What had he done to make him fly the lamp?
You must have patience, madam.
He had none. His flight was madness. When our actions do not, our fears do make us traitors.
You know not whether it was his wisdom or his fear.
Wisdom? To leave his wife, to leave his babes, his mansion, and his titles in a place from whence himself does fly? He loves us not. He wants the natural touch, for the poor and the most diminutive of birds will fight her young ones in her nest against the hour. All is the fear, and nothing is the love. As little is the wisdom where the flight so runs against all reason.
I pray you, cousin, school yourself. But for your husband, he is noble, wise, judicious, and best knows the bits of the season. I dare not speak much further, but cruel are the times when we do not know ourselves, and we hold rumor from what we fear, but know not what we fear, but float upon a wild and violent sea, each way and move. I take my leave of you. It shall not be long, but I'll be here again. Things at their worst will either cease or climb upward to what they were before. Pretty cousin, blessing upon you.
Father he is, and yet he's fatherless.
I am so much a fool. Should I stay longer, it would be my disgrace and your discomfort. I take my leave at once.
Sirrah, your father's dead. And what will you do now? How will you live?
As birds do, mother.
What, with worms and flies?
With what I get, I mean, and so do they.
Poor prattler, thou dost never fear the net nor the line, the pitfall nor the gin.
Why should I, mother? Poor birds they are not set for. My father is not dead, for all you're saying.
Yes, he is dead. How wilt thou do for a father?
Nay, how will you do for a husband?
Why, I can buy me 20 at any market.
Then you'll buy him to sell again.
Thou speakest with all thy wit, yet in faith with wit enough for thee.
Was my father a traitor?
Aye, that he was.
What is a traitor?
Why, one that swears and lies.
Be all traitors that do so?
Everyone that does so is a traitor and must be hanged.
And must they all be hanged that swear and lie?
Every one.
Who must hang them?
Why, the honest men.
Then the liars and swearers are fools. There are liars and swearers enough to beat the honest man and hang them up.
Now God help thee, poor monkey, but how wilt thou do for a father?
If he were dead, you'd weep for him. If you would not, for good son, I should quickly have a new father.
Oh, poor brother, how thou talkest!
Bless you, fair dame. I am not to you known, though in your state of honor I am perfect. I doubt some danger does approach you nearly. If you will take a homely man's advice, be not bound here, hence with your little ones. To fright you thus, methinks I am too savage. To do worse to you were fell cruelty, which is to deny your person. Heaven preserve you, I dare abide no longer.
Whither should I fly? I have done no harm. But I remember now, I am in this earthly world, where to do harm is often laudable. To do good sometime accounted dangerous folly. Why then, alas, do I put up that womanly defense to say I have done no harm? What are these faces?
Where's your husband?
I hope in no place so unsanctified where such as thou mayest find him.
He's a traitor.
Thou liest!
He has killed me, mother. Run away. I pray you.
Let us seek out some desolate shade, and there weep our sad bosom death.
Let us rather hold fast the mortal sword and let good men bestride our downfall and birth. Each new mourn, new widows howl, new orphans cry, new sorrows strike heaven on the face, that it resounds as if it felt with Scotland and yelled out like syllable of dolor.
What I believe I will, no believe, but what I can redress, and I shall find time to friend I will. What you have spoken may be so, perchance. This tyrant, whose sole name blisters our tongue was once thought honest, you have loved him well. He hath not touched you yet. I am young, but something you may deserve of him through me, and wisdom to offer up a weak, poor, innocent lamb to appease an angry God.
I am not treacherous.
What Macbeth is, a good and virtuous nature may recoil in an imperial charge. I shall crave your pardon. That which you are, my thoughts cannot transpose. Angels are bright still, though the brightest fell. Though all things foul must wear the brows of grace, yet grace must still look so.
I've lost my hopes.
Perchance, even there where I can find my doubt. Why in that wrongness like you, wife and child, those precious motives, those strong knots of love without leave taking. I pray you, let not my jealousies be your dishonors, but my own safeties. You may be rightly just, whatever I shall think.
Bleed. Bleed, poor country. Great tyranny. Lay thou thy basest shore, for goodness dare not check thee. Wear thou thy wrongs. The title is a fear. Fare thee well, Lord. I will not be the villain that thou thinkst, for the whole space that's in the tyrant's grasp, and the rich eats the boot.
Speak not offended. I speak not as an absolute fear of you. I think our country sinks beneath the yoke. It weeps, it bleeds, and each new day it gashes out into her wounds. I think with all there would be hands uplifted from my right, and here from gracious England have I offered goodly thousands. For all this, I shall tread upon the tyrant's head and wear it on my sword. Yet my poor country shall have more vices than it had before, more suffer, and more sundry ways than ever by him that shall succeed.
It should be thee.
Oh, it is myself I mean, in whom I know all particulars of vice so grafted, that when they shall be opened, black Macbeth will seem as pure as snow, and the poor state esteem as a lamb being compared with my confineless arms.
Not in the legions of horrid hell can come a devil more damned and evil than top Macbeth.
Oh, I ran him bloody, luxurious, avaricious, false, deceitful, sudden, malicious, smacking of every sin that has a name. There's no bottom, none. My voluptuousness. Your wives, your daughters, your matrons, and your maids could not fill up the cistern of my lust and my desire. All common impediments would overbear that did oppose my will. Better be back with such a one to reign.
Boundless intemperance in nature is a tyranny. It has been the untimely emptying of the happy throne and fall of many kings. But fear not yet to take upon you what is yours. You may convey your pleasures in a spacious plenty, and yet seem cold the time you may so hoodwink. We have willing dames enough. There cannot be that vulture ready to devour so many as will to greatness dedicate themselves, finding it so inclined.
This that rose in my most ill-composed affection, such a stanchless avarice that, were I king, I should cut off the nobles of their lands, desire his jewels in this other's house. And my more having would be as a sauce to make me hunger more, that I should forge quarrels unjust against the good and loyal, destroying them for wealth.
This avarice sticks deep, grows with more pernicious root than summer-seeming lust, and it has been the sword of our slain kings. Yet do not fear. Scotland hath poisons to fill up your will of your mere own. All these are portable with other graces' ways.
But I have none. The king becoming graces is justice, verity, temperance, stateliness. Justice, bounty, perseverance, mercy, lowliness, devotion, patience, courage, and fortitude. I have no relish of them, but abound in the division of each several crime, acting in many ways. Nay, had I power, I should pour the sweet milk of concord into hell, uproar the universal peace, confound all unity on earth.
Oh, Scotland.
Scotland, if such a one be fit to govern, speak. I am as I have spoken.
Fit to govern? No, not to live. Oh, nation miserable, with an untitled tyrant bloody scepter, when shalt thou see thy wholesome days again? Since the truest issue of thy throne by his own interdiction stands accursed, and does blaspheme his breed. Thy royal father was a most sainted king, the queen, that bore thee oftener upon her knees than on her feet, died every day she lived. Fare thee well! These evils thou repeatst upon thyself have banished me from Scotland. Oh, my breast, thy hope ends here.
It doth, this noble passion, child of integrity, hath from my soul wiped the black sprinkles, reconciled my thoughts to thy good truth and honor. Devilish Macbeth, by many of these ways he sought to win me into his power, and modest wisdom plucks me from over credulous haste. But God above deal between thee and me. For even now I put myself in thy direction, unspeak my own detraction. Here abjure the taints and blames I laid upon myself for strangers to my nature. I am yet unknown to woman, never was forsworn, scarcely have coveted what was my own, and no time broke my faith, would not betray the devil to his fellow and delight no less in truth than life. My first false speaking was this upon myself, what I truly is thine, my own country's command. Whither indeed, before thy here reproach I'll sue, with 10,000 warlike men, already at a point was setting forth. Now we'll together, and the chance of goodness be like a warranted quarrel. Why are you silent?
Such welcome, unwelcome things at once! 'Tis hard to reconcile. See who comes here.
My countryman, but yet I know her not.
My ever gentle cousin. Welcome hither.
I know her now. If God the times remove the means of making strangers.
Stand Scotland where it did.
Alas, for a country almost afraid to know itself, it cannot be called our mother, but our grave, where nothing but who knows nothing is once seen to smile. Where sighs and groans and shrieks that rent the air are made, not marked. Where violent sorrow seems a modern ecstasy, the dead man's knell is there scarce asked for who, and good men's lives expire before the flowers in their cap. Dying ere they sleep.
Oh, relation too nice and yet too true.
What's the newest grief?
That of an hour's age doth hiss the speaker, each minute teems a new one.
How does my wife?
Why, well,
And all my children?
well too.
The tyrant has not battered at their peace.
No. They were well at peace when I did leave them.
Be not a niggard of your speech. How goes it?
When I came hence to transport the tidings which I have heavily borne, there ran a rumor among many worthy fellows that were out, which was to my belief witness the rather, for I saw the tyrant's power afoot. Now is the time of help your eye in Scotland would create. Soldiers make our women fight to doff their dire distresses.
Be to their comfort, we are coming thither. Gracious England hath lent us good steward and 10,000 men. An older and better soldier, none than Christendom gives out.
Oh, would I could answer this comfort with delight, but I have words that would be howled out in the desert air where hearing should not match them.
What concern them? The general cause, or is it a fee grief due to some single breast?
No, mine that's honest, but in it share some woe, though the main part pertains to you alone.
If it be mine, keep it not from me. Quickly, let me have it.
Let not your ears despise my tongue forever, which shall possess them with the heaviest sound that ever yet they heard.
I guess at it.
Your castle is surprised. Your wife and babe savagely slaughtered. To relate the manner wrong, the quarry of these murdered deer, to add the death of you.
Merciful heaven. What man ne'er pulled your hat upon your brows? Give sorrow words. Grief that does not speak whispers the o'erfraught heart and bids it break.
My children too.
Wife, children, servants, all that could be found.
And I must be from thence. My wife killed too.
Sad.
Be comforted. Let's make medicines of our great revenge to cure this deadly grief.
He has no children. All my pretty ones. Did you say all? Oh, hellkite, all? All my pretty chickens, and their damn one fell swoop. Dispute it like a man. I shall do so. I must also feel it as a man. I cannot but remember such things that were most precious to me. Did heaven look on and could not take their part? Sinful Macduff. They were all struck for thee. Not that I am. Not for their own demerits, but for mine, fell slaughter on their souls. Heaven rest them down.
Be this the whetstone of your sword. Let grief convert to anger, blunt not the heart, enrage it.
Oh, I could blame a woman with my eyes, and braggart with my tongue. Gentle heavens cut short all division. Front to front bring down this fiend of Scotland and myself. Within my sword's length set him and escape. Heaven forgive him too.
This tune goes manly. Come, go we to the king. Our power is ready. Our lack is nothing but our leave. Macbeth is right for shaking, and the powers above put on their instruments. Receive what cheer you may. The night is long that never finds the day.
I have 2 nights' walk to proceed no truth in your report. When was this last walk?
Since His Majesty went into the field, I have seen her rise from her bed, throw her nightgown upon her, take forth paper, fold it, write upon it, read it, afterwards seal it, and again return to bed, yet all the while in the most fast sleep.
Great perturbation in nature. Gives you at once the benefits of sleep and do the effects of watching. In this slumber agitation, besides her walking and other active performances, what at any time have you heard her say?
That, sir, which I will not report after.
It's me. This is most meet, you should.
Neither do you nor anyone, having no witness to confirm my speech. Look, here she comes. This is her very guide, and upon my life, fast asleep, observe her stand close.
How came she by that light?
I have stood by her. She is led by her continually. It is her command.
You see her eyes are open.
Her sense are shut.
What is it she does now? Look how she rubs her hands.
It is an accustomed action with her to seem thus washing her hands. I have known her to continue it in a quarter of an hour.
Yet here's a spot.
She speaks. I will set down what comes from her to satisfy my remembrance more strongly.
How damn spot out, I say. 1, 2. Why then 'tis time to do it. Hell is murky. lord, fie, a soldier to feared. What need we fear who knows it, when none can call our power to account? Yet who would have thought the old man had so much blood in him?
Do you mark that?
But then if I've had wife, where is she now? What? Will these hands never be clean? No more of that, my lord, no more of that. You mar all with distorting.
Go to. You have known what you should not.
She spoke what she should not. I am sure of that. Heaven knows what she has known.
And here's the smell of blood still. Will all the perfumes of Arabia not sweeten this little hand? Ow! Oh! Ow!
Besides, the heart is sorely charged.
You would not have such a heart by listening to the dignity of the whole body. Pray God it be, sir.
This is beyond my practice. Yet I have known those which have died wholly, who have walked in their sleep, which have died wholly in their beds.
Get on your nightgown. Wash your hands. Look not so pale. I tell you yet again, Banquo's buried. He cannot come out on his grave.
Even so?
To bed. To bed. Hark, I hear knocking at the south of you. Come. Give me your hand. What's done cannot be undone. To bed. To bed!
Not to bed.
Directly.
Our whisperings are abroad. Natural deeds do breed unnatural troubles. Infected minds serve that pillows will discharge your secrets. More need she to find in the physician. God forgive us all. Look after her. Remove from her the means of all annoyance and still keep eyes upon her. So, good night. Mind she has made amazed my sight. Think but dare not speak.
Good night, good doctor.
The English power is near, but on by Macbeth, some will seaward and a good Macduff. Revenge is burning that, for their dear causes which to the bleeding and grim alarm excite the mortified man.
Near Burnham Wood shall we well meet them. That way are they coming.
Who knows if Donovan be with his brother?
For certain, sir, he is not. I have a file of all the gentry. There is Seward's son and many unrough youths that even now protest their first of manhood.
What does the tyrant?
Great Dunsinane he strongly fortifies. Some say he's mad. Others that lesser hate him call it valiant fury. But 'tis certain he cannot buckle his distempered cause within the belt of rule.
Now does he feel his secret murder sticking on his hands. Now minutely revolts, upbraid his faith breach. Those he commands move only in command, nothing in love. Now does he feel his title hang loose about him like a giant's robe on a dwarfish thief.
Who then shall blame his pestered senses to recoil and start, when all that is within him does condemn itself for being there?
Well, march we on then, to give obedience what is truly owed. Meet we the medicine of the sickly wheel, and with him pour we in our country's purge each drop of us.
Or so much as it needs to dew the sovereign flower and drown the weeds. Make we our march towards Burnham.
Let them fly off. The Burnham removed the Dunsinane I cannot tame with fear. What's that boy, Malcolm? Was he not born of woman? The spirit and all mortal consequences have pronounced me thus. Fear not, men. No man born of woman shall ever hold power upon thee. Fly, false things, and mingle with English epicures. The mind I sway by and the heart I bear shall never sag with doubt, nor shake with fear. The devil damn thee, black. Where goes thou, goose look?
There's 10,000
Geese, villain,
soldiers, sir.
Prick thy face, and red thy fear, thy delivered boy. What soldiers, Patch? Death of thy soul! Oh, those little cheeks are counselors to fear. What soldiers, Way Face?
The English force, so please you.
Let thy face hence. Sin! I'm sick at heart when I behold sin, I say! This push will cheer me of or deceit me now. I have lived long enough. My way of life has fallen into sear, the dillo leaf, and that which should accompany old age, I must not look to have as love, honor, obedience, troops of friends, but in their stead curses, and loud but deep, mouth honor, breath to the poor heart, which would fain deny and dare not. Satan!
What's your gracious pleasure?
What news more?
All is confirmed, my lord, which was reported.
I'll fight. The flesh of my bones be hacked. Give me mine armor.
It is not needed yet.
I'll put it on. Send out more horses. Scour the country round. Hang those that talk of fear. Give me mine armor. How does your patient, doctor?
Not so sick, my lord, as she has trouble with incoming fancies that keep her from her rest.
Cure her of that. Canst thou not minister to a mind diseased? Pluck from the memory of the rooted sorrow. Raise out the written troubles of the brain. With some sweet, oblivious antidote. Cleanse that stuffed bosom of the perilous stuff that weighs upon the heart.
Therein the patient must minister to himself.
Throw physic to the dog, I'll none of it. Come put on my armor! Give me my staff! Oh. Seaton, send out. Doctor, the things fly from me. Come, sir, dispatch. Cast the waters from my land. Find her disease and purge it to a sound and pristine health. Thou should. He will applaud thee to the very echo that should applaud again. Pull it off, I say. What rhubarb, senna, or purgative drug would scour these English heads? Givest thou them?
Aye, my good lord. Your royal preparation to make a cure.
Bring it after me. I will not be afraid of death or bane till Burnham would come to Dunsinane.
Word from Dunsinane away and clear. Crop against your heart and draw me here.
Hang the banners on the outward walls! The cry is still, they come! Our castle strength will laugh a siege to scorn. Here, let them lie to famine and ague eat them up. Were they not forced with those that were ours, we would have met them dareful, beard to beard, and beat them backward home. What's that noise?
The cry of woman, my lord.
I almost forgot the taste of fears. The time has been, my senses would have cooled to hear a night shriek. The treaties rouse to stir as life were in it. I have supped full of horrors, direness, familiar to my slaughterous thoughts that once cannot start. What was that cry?
The queen, my lord, is dead.
She should have died hereafter. There would have been time for such a word. Tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. It creeps in this petty pace from day to day. And all our yesterdays have lighted fools the way to dusty death. Out, out, brief candle. Life is but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and is heard no more. is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Oh. Now come to use that tongue. That story quickly.
Gracious, my lord, I should report that which I say I saw, but I know not how to do it.
Well, say, sir.
As I stood my watch upon the hill, I looked toward Burnham, and anon methought the wood began to move.
Liar and slave!
Let me endure your wrath, if it be not so. Within this 3 mile may you see it coming, I say, a moving road.
Thou speakest false. Upon the next sheet thou shalt hang alive till famine cling thee. Thou speech be sooth. Care not if thou dost for me as much. I pull in resolution and begin to doubt thee equivocation that lies like the fiend. Till fear not till Burnham would come to Dunsinane, and now I would come to Dunsinane. Arm, and out. If this which ye avouch shall appear, there will be no flying nor tarrying here. I again to be aweary of the sun, and wish these things were now undone. Ring the alarm bell. Blow, wind, come rack. At least we'll die with harness on our back.
You worthy uncle, shall with my cousin and right noble son take the first battle. Worthy Macduff, we shall take upon us what else remains to do according to our word.
Fare you well. Do we but find the tyrant's power tonight? Let us be beaten if we cannot fight.
Make all our trumpets speak. Give them all breath, those clamorous harbingers of blood and death.
They have tied me to a stake. I cannot fly. But bear-like, I must fight the course. What's he that was not a woman born? Such one I am to fear, or not.
What is thy name?
I'll be afraid to hear it.
No, though thou callest thyself a hotter name than any is in hell.
No, no more fearful.
Thou liest, horrid tyrant. With my sword I'll prove the lie thou speakst.
I wasn't born a woman! At swords I smile, lad. Weapons off to scorn, brandished by man of woman born.
That way the noises. Tyrant, show thy face. Thou beest slain, and with no stroke of mine, my wife and children's ghosts will haunt me still. I cannot strike at wretched kerns whose arms are hired to bear their staves. Either thou, Macbeth, or else my sword with an unbattered edge I sheathe again undeeded. There thou shouldst be. By this great clatter, one of greatest note seems brooding. Let me find him, fortune. More, I beg not.
This way, my lord. The castle's gently rendered. The tyrant's people on both sides do fight. The Vanes do bravely in the war. The day almost itself professes yours, and little is to do.
We've met with foes that strike beside us. Enter, sir, the castle.
Why should I play the Roman fool and die on mine own sword? Well, I see I lives. The gashes do better upon them.
Turn, hellhound.
Turn! Of all men I have avoided thee. Get thee back. Too much my soul stars of blood of thine already.
I have no words. My voice is in my sword. Thou player villain in terms can give thee out. Ah!
as easy as made his douse. Me entrench it there, and thy keen sword and presence make me bleed. Let fall thy blade on vulnerable crests. For I live a charmed life, one that which must not yield to one of woman born.
Spare thy charm, and let the angel whom thou still hast served tell thee Macduff was from his mother's womb untimely lived.
Cursed be the tongue that tells me so. I've cowed my better part, man. We, these juggling fiends, no more believe that thou palter in a double sense, and keep the word of promise to our ears, and break it to our hope. I will not fight with thee.
Then yield thee, coward, and live to be the show and gaze of the time. We'll have thee, as our rarer monsters are, painted on a pole, and under it there you may see the tyrant.
I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet. And though be baited with rival curse, though Berta would come to Dunsinane to oppose, being of no woman born, I will try my last. Before my body I throw my warlike shield down. Lay on, Macduff, and damn he that first cries, hold! Enough!
I would the friends we miss were safe arrived.
Some must go off. And if by these I see as great a day as this is cheaply bought.
Duff is missing, and your noble son.
Your son, my lord, has paid the soldier's debt. He only lived but till he was a man, the which no sooner had his prowess confirmed in the unshrinking station where he fought, but like a man he died.
Then he is dead?
Aye, and brought off the field. Your cause of sorrow must not be measured by his worth, for then it hath no end.
And he has hurts before.
Aye, on the front.
Why, then, God's soldier be he! Had I as many sons as I have hairs, I would not wish them to a fairer death. And so his bell is known.
He's worth more sorrow, and that I'll spend for him.
He's worth no more. They say he parted well and paid his score, and so, God be with him. Here comes newer comfort.
King, for so thou art. Behold, where stands the usurper's cursed head. The time is free. I see thee compassed with thy kingdom's pearl, that speak my salutation in their minds, whose voices I desire aloud with mine. Hail, King of Scotland!
Hail, King of Scotland!
We shall not spend a large expense of time before we reckon with your several loves as evenly. My thanks, King Kinsman, henceforth be earls, the first that ever Scotland, in such an honor named. What's more to do is would be planned to newly with the time, is calling home our exiled friends abroad that fled the watchful snares of tyranny, bruising forth the cruel ministers of this dead butcher and his fiend-like queen, lest his thought by soft and violent hands took off the life. This, what needful else that calls upon us, by the grace of grace we will perform, in measure, time, and place. Those friends all at once and to each one, we invite to see us crowned at Scotland!